Miss Millo, I've been a supporter of your work for many years. I've spent thousands of dollars over those years coming to performances of yours. In your heyday, in your concert performances in churches in the early 2000s, and most recently at your comeback recital this January at ZANKEL Hall. To contextualize my words, I'm a retired opera producer. I'm also a long-standing member of an international community of opera professionals and fanatics who share broadcasted live and in-house recordings with one another via YouTube and other platforms. We do so out of love and belief in the art form. We make no money from any of this and regard the singularity of an individual performance with excitement and the belief that such documents will serve future generations as a lifeline to great performers of the past and as a conduit to invaluable moments in music history being made today. In the way that, say, you might treasure a live performance of Enrico Caruso, Rosa Poncel, Claudia Muzio, and the countless others whose live performances may have been recorded but which are out of the public view. Over the last decade, I and others I know have made continued efforts to share recordings of yours via YouTube, as most fans of opera tend to do these days. And on as many occasions, you have doggedly reported our uploads to YouTube, invoking a claim of copyright infringement. You elected to perform in public. I am not the only individual who took a recording, and flagging an uploaded video from YouTube does not stymie the dissemination of such recordings at all. We just share them among ourselves outside of that particular public platform, but it does keep your work out of a relevant public purview. In your January 30th recital at ZANKEL Hall, you gave a preamble to Raffice's Death of Cecilia that spoke to the power of art to bridge time and space. Do you not think that live recordings of your interpretations might also have this power for a listener, even if you don't stand to profit from it monetarily? I have a question for you and for those who've championed you through the years, through, as it were, thick and thin. How much does that communication actually matter to you? Is it to be reserved for the wealthiest coterie of people living in major cities who then can afford expensive tickets to see you in person? What about scholars, or young singers, or the elderly, those on a fixed income who cannot afford to see such performances in person? Any observant singer today understands that YouTube is the most expedient way to establish a presence in the opera community. Managers consider very seriously the reception of exceptional performances shared via YouTube. It is responsible in large part for the notoriety of singers like Diana Damrau, Franco Fagioli, Nina Stemma, and the many pupils of Bill Schumann's who you no doubt know have garnered attention over the last 15 years or so. Does your declared belief in art's power of communication matter to you enough to want the broadest possible audience for your gift? Another question. Does your declared belief in art's power of communication matter to you enough to do the hard work of committing to memory the music and text of a recital, your only recital in New York in approximately a decade, that which you've invited the world to pay attention to through an overgenerous coverage in the United States' largest newspaper? No matter of grandiosity on stage is a substitute for rigorous and serious study and artistry. Anything less is an insult to the public, your forebears artistically, and to art at large. While I'm likely to look admiringly at the many performances you've left, you've lost the support of someone who's championed your work. I plainly resent your aggressive censorship of the adoration of your fans who've given up so many evenings, massive amounts of hard-earned money in support of you, despite your track record of unrigorous, fly-by-night performances these past decades. I've been among the fans who have rallied behind you because of belief in your art, not a belief in you. I feel rightly, I think, that you've done nothing but express disdain for our continued regard. You've disenfranchised those who've stood by you through the years, who through many factors have come to cheer for you and to support your efforts in reclaiming any place whatsoever on the recital or operatic stage. While this is in itself insulting, it is also very unfortunate for you, and for anyone who wants to hear more of you. The several performance extracts about which you lodged copyright complaints were uploaded with the express purpose of sharing what I felt were strong moments from your recitals with a friend and a former colleague who hires singers at one of the premier houses in the United States. I excitedly relayed my thoughts on the performance and your potential, and suggested several projects for which you might be viable. Instead of hearing your performance, he followed a link and read that the video had been removed due to a copyright strike filed by APRILE Millo herself. Do you have any idea how that looked to him? If you don't, I'll tell you. It looked desperate, ungenerous, unaware, undemocratic, unprofessional, and as if you don't stand behind your own work. In other words, unhireable. Several final questions. Have you ever considered directing the immense energy you devote to policing fan-made recordings of your work to actually learning the music, the words, and their meanings of anything which you plan to put forth in front of a discerning public? Do you not think your place in the operatic firmament is something to be earned? Or, to borrow a phrase from Birgit Nilsson, is your future behind you?